Time flies, homie.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're recording a podcast.
Recording a podcast.
Hey, we are we are we are back from our like 10-minute break.
Yeah, I had oatmeal.
He had oatmeal. He actually got to eat.
I ate my foodie.
He ate his food because someone is doing intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Sad ass shit.
Sad ass shit.
Sad ass shit.
Should have put me in sports.
You know, that's not true because my parents put me in sports and I still fucking hated it.
Dude, I was in Cub Scout baseball, and that was not a real sport.
I was in soccer.
I was in Park District soccer.
I was in soccer. I played for a couple years. I did swimming.
Yeah.
Then I tried doing soccer in high school and I messed up my knee.
So
Moral of the story: don't do sports, kids.
so I'm just looking at the cast for this movie right now, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, who the fuck are you?
So you do recognize at least two of them. So, oh, by the way, we're talking about the Boogeyman.
Which in our last podcast,
Go on.
Javi said that, oh, so I must have found some good in the Boogeyman. And I said, I
No,
found,
let me. Thanos said. So we talked about Spider Verse, and Thanos
yeah,
said we're not going to talk about a less good
movie,
movie.
right. And then Javi's like, oh, I guess that means there's something in there you found good.
You got to be careful with your words, man.
And I said, yes, I found about 1.5 stars worth of good. And I wanted to say, I think the only movie that I found no good in was Crime Against the Future. But I remember I gave that half a star, and that was just set in Greece. So that was the only, like, setting your movie in Greece gets you half a star.
Dude, that movie was so fucking
It
bad.
was so fucking bad.
Oh man, I don't think I've seen a movie that bad in a minute.
That movie makes me wish Sauron won.
Isn't that just called the end of Rings of Power?
Dude, is that fucking shit gonna go on? I'm saying this as somebody who didn't hate Rings of Power. Like, is that shit gonna like continue?
It's in the process of filming without a showrunner.
Because I have no desire to actually like. I mean, I'll watch it, but like,
I don't think I
yeah.
finished the last like 4 episodes.
Here's a top. One day we should like review a movie so bad where the entire episode is just on a completely different topic. And if that were to happen during this movie, which it's not going to, the I would like to talk about the trend of like why all the high budget dramas now are all 2 years apart.
Go on.
House of the Dragon, 2 years
Oh,
apart.
okay, I see what you mean.
This shit, at least 2 years apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess production time has gotten a little lengthier.
Yeah, it's just an interesting phenomenon. And it's
Yeah.
kind of it is kind of sad, and it lets you know that like at least now that like with the upsurge of like media and technology, like I'm not saying we're always going to have it worse, but like it's crazy to think like I could go to a stage in my life where Dexter every year, let's fucking go. Game of Thrones every year, let's fucking go. And now
Yeah.
I have to wait like a
Even
peasant
Game of Thrones though started getting a little
with the last two
ridiculous the
seasons.
last couple seasons.
With the last two seasons. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I think it has to do with like definitely more visual effects.
Yes.
They were filming in
They needed an extra year to make the whole episode dark.
Anyways,
Yeah.
speaking of the dark,
The dark.
we're talking about the Boogeyman, 2023's The Boogeyman.
I'll read a synopsis. In the worst version of Smile.
Wow.
That's what this movie is.
It is not as good. It is nowhere near as good as Smile.
No.
It is nowhere near as good as Megan.
But then
It
Smile
is-
even takes this like basic fucking premise and is like, what if an evil like followed you around and fed off your trauma? And you're like, all right.
Yeah, I guess that's
At
true.
least you got the creepy
So-
imagery.
All right, so here's the thing. In this movie, though, right? So the Boogeyman. You know what? Fuck spoilers. We're gonna go right into
Yeah.
it, right? So the movie does follow a family, a girl named Sadie, a girl named Sawyer, and their dad,
Yeah.
who I swear I don't remember his fucking name. But
Bootstrap Bill Harper.
Bootstrap
Oh, Turner. That was his name.
Turner.
Will Harper? Will Harper.
Will Harper, but still, right? So the mom is dead. It's implied that she died recently.
Yeah.
Within like a month or so, he's a therapist. He does therapy for the polka dot man.
Yeah.
Who tells him like, "Hey man, the Baba Yaga is here."
Which pause? Um, the way they revealed, or at least switched over to the mom died, slightly confused me because you see the boogeyman fucking like narc a child,
That's
or that's polka dot
it's Polka Dot Man's child,
man child. Yes, does polka dot man do it, or does the boogeyman do it?
the Boogeyman.
Got you. Anyway, fucking narcs the child, and I'm like, oh shit, a dead child, right? And then it cuts to like uh, Sadie, like, going through the closet and clearly being sad. And I'm like, oh man, like, is this movie gonna follow? Like, for a split second, I thought it was like the mom and she was grieving like her dead daughter. I'm like, this would be kind of cool if this movie followed this, like, mom of this dead child. And that's not what happens.
You know,
It's
this
a
this
much boring premise.
this will this will tie in later to Thanos' idea of a new segment that we're going to maybe do,
Yes.
maybe not do because Javier's not good at this.
Yeah.
But
And I
yeah,
haven't modeled it for Javier as well.
you will have to model
There was no
today's.
good teaching practice
There
in
was
this
no, yeah,
idea.
no.
Yeah.
Thano did not
Yeah.
differentiate for my ability here,
Yeah.
and I'm going to fail his course because of it.
Yes.
But so yeah, so that was an interesting uh idea because so this is based on a Stephen King short.
Yeah.
I did listen to the short on like Sunday night or Monday night or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And basically in the short is the therapy session that Will has with Polka Dot Man.
Mm.
Lester is his character's name. And in the short, it's just the therapy session happening, him telling him like, this is what happened, like I got my kids killed. It
Yeah.
wasn't me who did it, but like it was because of my negligence
Yeah.
that they died. Um and all of that you basically get in like the first 10-15 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
In the short story, it is revealed that when Lester's about to leave, the therapist is actually the boogeyman being like, haha, fuck you. Got your kids, nah nah nah.
Clever.
Basically.
More interesting than this.
Kind of. But
Yeah.
I mean that would make a good like short film, I think.
Yeah.
I do think then what they do here, expanding on that, I guess it's as best as you can do with that short story concept.
Sure, perhaps. Question.
Go on.
He seeks out Bootstrap Will.
Bootstrap Will.
By the way, millions of fans, the only reason I keep on making this joke is I forgot for a split second that Will Turner's name was Will Turner, not Will Harper. Anyway, so when we arrive at Orlando Bloom's house, uh,
Uh-huh.
the he's clearly seeking out Will Harper, right?
Yes.
Do we have any specific reason why he's specifically seeking out Will Harper?
No, I think he's just looking for a therapist to talk to.
Got you. Because he makes it seem like, are you Will Harper? And it's like, oh, Polka Dot Man's done some research. Will Harper must have a specific specialty, maybe descended from an ancient curse. I don't know. But then there's no actual reason given as to like why he happens upon this door.
I don't know. And maybe if I were to rewatch this again, which I do not intend to anytime soon,
Yeah.
maybe there's some hints with the therapist or with the therapy session he's having with the girl before this
Yeah.
that would maybe lead one to believe that maybe he's like a grief
Right.
counselor or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Uh, but so all right, so we have him kind of showing up there. Before that, we have Sadie going back to school wearing her dead mom's dress.
Yeah.
Which, all right, I know they say in the movie that that's weird.
First, she sniffs it.
That's, I think, the weird thing.
Yeah,
Which, no, I guess you could be like, well, it smells like my mom.
I don't think that was weird.
I don't think that's just a
But
weird
it's
thing.
funny to say out loud. She fucking sniffs that mom dress.
She does sniff that dead mom dress. She reconnects with her friend.
Her friend.
Her friend.
Air quotes.
All right, hold on. All right, hold on. I do think that friend is friendly.
That friend's like a 7 out of 10.
Bethany, I think, is the friend.
Yeah. She's a 7 out of 10 friend
She's
at best.
so okay. So I think in the movie they do say like she doesn't really want to talk with Sadie because she doesn't know how to like
Approach her.
approach the topic of, hey, listen,
Right.
man, I'm sorry your mom died, which I get. But then the other girls in this movie,
Are cunts.
oh my god, they are
Yes.
so mean.
Cunts who do not die.
And that's the problem. That's, I
That's the
think, a problem.
problem.
I think this movie,
No justice.
no justice.
Yeah.
This movie, you keep your PG-13 rating. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, not in my version, but continue.
Fair. But you
Yeah.
can keep this movie PG-13 and have all of these bitches die.
Yeah.
Maybe not Beth,
Yeah.
because Beth is trying.
Yeah.
But this girl is like, yo, mom died. I'm going to shove you into your locker.
Beth is incompetently trying. Beth is like Beth is more incompetently trying than the fucking British Army using their same old ass tactics against the American Revolutionary. Right? He's like, oh, your friend. Oh, this girl literally just like pushed you into a locker and laughed at you when like your mom's dead spoiled lunch went all over her dress. Let's bring her over for a hangout at your house.
At your house.
At your
Not
house.
only are you inviting her to hang out, you're now inviting yourself to her house.
Yeah. Also, what's sad ass fucking loser kids where the dad's like, she's got a big night like for like this is important for your sister. Like big night. I'm like, oh, is it prom? No, she's just having friends over.
She's having fucking pizza without anything going on. No music.
Yeah.
No movie. No
We
games.
need to save the youth. If this is what hanging out is, then these youths are in trouble.
Oh, you know what they do find fun though?
Hmm.
Getting high.
Getting high.
Getting high off of dead mom's
Yeah.
supply.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Right. But here's the thing. All right. So
Yeah.
this movie, I think. All right. So the director who you have thoughts about,
Yeah.
I do think he has ability as a director. He does a good job at framing shots in a way that feel creepy.
What? Yes, he does. But what were my thoughts about the director? What
You
are my
don't-
specific thoughts of the
I
director?
don't know. You forgot. I don't think I want to bring him up. I don't think.
No, I remember what they are.
Donald said, "quote unquote, $5. This man is a pedophile."
Saying he is. I'm just saying there's enough. There's enough weird stuff going on here that, like, just like we wouldn't be surprised if Ari Aster one day
Oh, I
like was
hope.
in some weird shit.
No, don't milkshake duck Ari Aster,
No,
please.
there's
Please.
some questionable shots in this movie. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So this guy, he directed. He got kind of famous for making like a short for a like anthology series called Bite Size Horror.
Yeah.
Then he did during the pandemic. He made the very good movie Host, which we did not talk about in the podcast, but we did watch all together.
Mm.
I really enjoy that movie. I think for what it is,
Mm.
it's a very effective use of like 50 minutes use of the screen life, like found footage style.
Yeah.
And it was genuinely
Yeah.
creepy. And I think in the time where we needed something fun
It
to
delivered.
lighten the mood of COVID, I
Yeah.
think that movie like hit perfectly.
Yeah.
He has another movie called Dashcam, which follows a piece of shit
Mm.
who does like Uber.
Mm.
And now this is the first movie that he's done, like mainstream movie that he's done that is actually like him directing like scenes and shit, not found footage.
It's interesting that he went from like kind of a niche style to now picking a movie based on what is literally like the most generic monster. Like when you ask people like, "What's the Boogeyman?" Like, yeah, it's fucking get your kids.
And I wonder to what extent this is a situation where he was like, oh, it's a movie based on Stephen King.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think with what he's given, because I don't think he wrote this actual like screenplay. Scott Beck, Brian Woods, and Mark Heyman. I honestly have no idea who any of these people are. Scott
Yeah.
Beck sounds familiar. But anyway, I think that for what he was given,
Hmm.
I think he did a good job at like shooting the movie.
There are some very cool shots. I like the what they do with the laundry machine, the washing machine,
Hmm.
the whole red light thing. I think
Are
that's
you talking
great.
about when she opens the door and he's standing in the back
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I like that shot. The washing machine shot is cool. I like when they're in the basement and like he lingers on like the clutter and like
yeah. You can
you
see
know,
kind of
like
like it
yeah,
almost looks like rolled up like maps, and you see
yeah,
shit moving in the back. That so
yeah. That's cool.
so he's got an eye
Yeah,
for good scenes and setting the camera well and like directing the actors. I think they do an okay job.
the Christmas lights are fucking cool.
The Christmas lights is a good idea. I
Yeah,
think that's effective.
you know,
Um, but I think what doesn't work is like the story itself.
there's no fucking breadcrumbs in this story.
Go on. So
Okay,
explain.
so in fiction, it's good. I mean, it is kind of foreshadowing, and you can overdo this to this point where like things become like too predictable or too cliche. But like, in your major pieces, you want to like leave little breadcrumbs or leave little hints as to like, oh, like this object will be important, right?
Mhm.
Um, it doesn't make sense to have your character like pick up a hockey stick out of nowhere.
Because Thanos,
hockey
hockey
beat
stick beats
Hockey beats
shotgun.
gun. Hockey beats gun, right? When they've showed no indication whatsoever of having any connection to sports, hockey, or any sort of physicality, like
Okay.
at all, right? Um, like I can't remember other moments, and maybe just because the movie is, I don't want to say it's total random, but it's just so like disjointed. Like there's there's not much that the movie like leads you down where you're like, I have payoff here, right?
The one thing that I did think was very weird. So in the throughout the movie, there is this like underlying tone of like Sadie trying to contact her dead
Mom, yeah,
mom,
that's the most breadcrumby
and
thing.
she's like, "Mom, I need your help.
Yeah,
If you're here, move the
move the flag.
lighter
Yeah,
to the left or whatever." And you never get an inkling of anything supernatural. Well, I don't want to say not supernatural because I was at the Boogeyman, right? But like, there's nothing here implying that there's like ghosty goose.
also what a weird mix of supernatural. Like
Yes.
it's a supernatural thing, but like this is simultaneously the best and worst part of the movie.
Mm.
It's a supernatural deity, but we've confirmed that one of the ways to hurt it is to just fucking shoot it with a shotgun.
Yeah.
All that thinking, all that planning.
Yeah.
It's like, come on here, I got an idea.
And here's the thing. So they do the
Yeah,
shooting. They
yeah,
shoot the thing.
right.
But then at the same time, you just saw it take at least five shotgun shells,
Yeah, and the bear
plus
traps.
more from the lady,
Yeah,
and then just gets up and rips the woman in half.
yeah,
And you're like, I'm gonna go hit it with a stick.
yeah,
So like clearly, yeah, you can kind of hit it,
yeah.
but it's not putting it down.
But that is correct. But just the rules, the rules are so strange, and it's like it is kind of. I almost have to give it credit. Where like, oh, how do we beat this monster? Actually, like just start with some like sheer force, like like
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
And there's also the thing where Lester's wife, who apparently is still alive, living in this old ass abandoned looking
I like
house.
how they made her look. She looks very gaunt.
Yeah, she looks
Yes,
scraggly as shit.
yeah,
Um, and she's like, it needs darkness to survive. Like it thrives in darkness.
yeah,
Light like weakens it.
yeah.
They turn off all these lights.
This bitch ain't paying the electric bill.
She's not paying the electric bill. Like if you're trying to like not get this thing to kill you,
Yeah,
pay your lights.
pay your lights.
And then also when she gets it down with a shotgun.
Yeah,
Uh, fucking turn the lights on.
yeah,
If you say that this thing is weakened by light and it needs darkness to survive, once it's down, flick all of them lights on, clap off, and then do something.
also, here's my other question. How did this lady just not kill herself? Because clearly she's at least not content, but she's come to the point of acceptance where she's gonna have to just like live with this beast and then it's like continually hunt it Her candles all over the floor are just gonna have to be like the way we go about, right? Her husband's dead. Her kids are dead. Like, at what point? Like,
Vengeance Man.
I guess, but
My question, I guess, is what's the purpose of how so okay, so in the short story, I believe the wife is dead
I thought she was dead until
until she was up.
yeah,
And that's was my thinking too.
yeah,
Like if she's alive and she believes in this thing,
yeah,
then Lester, homie, you got someone to talk to.
yeah.
You don't need to go talk
To
to the
this
therapist
random ass
guy
therapist.
who may or may not believe you when you have a wife who is willing here to believe you and try to hunt this thing down.
Yeah,
I think that's a more interesting story to have these two
these two
actually
work together.
try to like.
Yeah, because these kid actors kind of suck.
And you know, here's the unfortunate thing.
Little sister's not in. She's not the girl in anything else we've seen, right?
You have seen her somewhere. Where have you in the past year seen a little girl?
She's not in Megan.
She's not in Megan. It's a
Sh-
show.
Is she Leia?
She's little Leia.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's little Leia.
Little Leia herself isn't like great, but like I feel
She
like
was not this bad. I don't
yeah,
think she was this
this was
bad.
a worse job.
Yeah. Um the problem with this, I think,
Mhm.
is the dad is kind of uninteresting.
Very uninteresting.
So you don't care about what's going on with him.
Yep,
I think not Sophie, sorry, Sadie is a little more interesting
by a hair.
by a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, compared to Dad,
yeah. Dad is lame.
I think compared
Yeah,
to Dad, I think Sophie's a little bit more interesting.
yeah.
She's trying to process what's happening with her mom. She's
Sophie.
trying to talk. That scene fucked me up, man. Where she's like opening up to Dad
Yeah.
to be like, hey, like, how do you handle this? Like, how do you like work through this? And he's like, you got therapy tomorrow, so talk to your therapist. Therapist, and this
Yeah.
is your daughter. Like, how many times do we have the trope of like the dad trying to talk to the daughter about like mom died, talk to me, and the daughter's like, fuck you, dad. And this girl is actively trying to work her shit through, and you're like, nah,
And the movie at least is aware that like dad needs to talk about this and he's
yeah,
uncomfortable doing so. But the fact is like Sadie just doesn't do anything like cool. She's
no,
not the black phone kids.
no, she
The
does
black
not.
phone kids are fucking cool.
Yeah.
She's not cool.
And I think that's the problem with this movie.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten a lot of really good, in the past year alone, we've gotten a lot of good
There's
examples
some
of kid
cool
actors.
ass kids.
So
Yeah.
we got the boy from the Black Phone.
Like I would do coke with these.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
There,
really, because I have never done that.
not really, but
And I mean that in serious. Yeah.
hypothetically, if you
Yeah.
were to do coke, you would do coke with these children.
I mean, I wouldn't do it with a child. That's just wrong.
You would wait until they're 18.
But if I had to do coke with kids, I wouldn't do it with these kids.
She can't even toke.
Yeah, but with some other kids in other movies.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um, but yes, so we've had some really good examples of these really good, talented kids who can sell A, being scared,
yeah,
but then being able to overcome like the crazy shit happening in their lives, right?
yeah,
We had keep on forgetting his so we have the little girls. Oh, both of them are sisters, by the way. Little girl from Black Phone is the older sister
of Leia.
of no, not Leia, the girl from Megan.
Oh,
Yeah, Violet McGraw and Madeline McGraw.
it's interesting because I've been getting these girls like confused.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And then you have the lead boy Mason Thames in Black Phone, and he's really good.
yep,
Like he sells you on when he's scared, when he's like, "All right, time to get down to business."
yeah,
Like it works. this, and I think that because we have those comparisons and you see this,
Yeah.
and it's just, it's not awful, but it's not there.
Correct.
You're like, this is significantly lesser.
Yeah.
So I think that that definitely hurts the movie. And then again, like you said, the fact that the dad is such a nothing burger character
Yeah.
just kind of like sucks the rest of the air out of this movie.
I mean, all parents of Gen Z kids are nothing burger people, so I guess
These fucking
it's
Gen Xers and these millennials have got to go.
dude, Gen Xers need they need their comeuppance. But
They, yeah.
story for another day.
Story for another day.
Yeah.
We do have a, I guess, a good, well, good and bad. So the sister does believe,
Hmm.
why am I thinking her name? Sawyer.
Yeah.
So Sadie does believe Sawyer that something is going on, like fast enough, I guess.
Yes.
She does do the thing where she like looks through like the files.
Yeah.
She listens to the tape.
Yeah.
She like does the little like
Does the
tracing
little
thing and
engraving,
gets,
yeah.
yeah. So like she does have this, but then at the same time, like the little girl's like, "Hey, shit's happening," and she's like, "It'll be okay."
Yeah. And when the little girl's already been thrown at the TV and they're in
Dude,
the hospital,
he
and
gets
she's like,
yeeted so hard.
"Don't worry, we're going home soon."
I miss that. I miss that
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
But I remember her saying like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go get dad," and I'm like, "That's fine. You stay with your sister."
But it's also just like total whiplash because not only did that happen with the sister, but that's on the same night where like uh these people who are her friends, I forget
By the
what
way,
these.
let's get there. So she's in
Yeah.
the bathroom doing something. I can't remember if she's listening to the tape again, like
Okay.
the sound tape.
Yeah.
And then her friend's like, "Hey, you taking a piss? Like, come out." And she's like, "Dude, like, chill." She's like, "I've seen you pee 1,000 times," which is when you said this man is a pedophile.
Yeah. That's when
Um,
I said it. There were things before that made me think it, but that's when I said it.
yeah. So then she's like, "Hey, let's hang out. Like, let's
Yeah.
go do shit." And she's like, "Well, no. Like, you have your new friends to hang out with." And
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, they're your friends too." And we're
Yeah.
like, "When?
When?
When
When?
did we become led to believe that these people are friendly?
Yeah. Never.
Never. Maybe you and her are friendly, and
Yes.
maybe they are your friends, and you want to say
But she does not stick up for you.
she does not."
Yeah.
I think at one point she goes like, "Emma,
She's
what the
like, "Fuck,
fuck?"
what the fuck?" But that's it.
But that's
Yeah.
it. Holy shit.
Right.
That leads then to them having the get together.
Yeah.
They say, "Hey, like, do you have any like booze like to make this party, happen?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, my dad doesn't drink, but I have weed."
Yeah.
And again, dead mom weed.
Right.
They smoke it, and they're like, "Hey, is this the class where the guy hung himself?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, that's upstairs. Let's go show
Let's go
you."
show you this closet
And they fucking lock her in her
in
house.
her own
All
house.
right. So you've seen when dad's home.
Now, to be fair, the monster does keep her in there longer than they were. But the fact that they initiated that whole thing is some
Allegedly,
bullshit.
allegedly they say like we tried opening the door and it wouldn't open and blah blah blah. And I'm like, if I'm this girl, even though I know there's something in this room,
Yeah.
like I don't give a fuck if you tried opening the door after you threw me in here.
Correct. But then, okay, for the just quick aside. This also makes no sense that like a shotgun is a reasonable way to hurt this thing because like clearly it has the powers of like going from house to house. It has powers of like controlling, objects and shit, right? It materializes the tooth inside of her like
Oh, that was so gross.
yeah, like this thing cannot get hurt with a shotgun. And I know the shotgun doesn't kill it, but like I love the United States, but we're not that powerful. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, and so then, all right, so like you have the trope of like you invite the weird kid to the party, and then at the party you bully them, but it's
Yeah.
usually like you invite them to your house and you
Yeah.
bully them at your house.
No, they bully her in
They
their
bully her
own
in their
home.
own home.
Yeah.
When dad is home,
Yeah.
little sister is downstairs playing PlayStation.
Yep.
and you're gonna lock this girl up whose mom died a month ago,
Yeah.
and you're gonna like do mean shit to her in her own house.
Right.
Like these girls needed to die.
They needed to die.
And
They don't.
so we're watching the scene and we're like, this is where this fucking boogeyman's gonna get them.
Yeah.
No, they leave. They go. Your daughter's fucking crazy,
Yeah.
and then the little girl gets thrown into the window, into
All
the
of them are
TV.
like, your daughter's fucking crazy. I mean, the blonde one leads it, but like they
Yeah,
all like follow it.
they are all following.
Yeah.
The Asian girl does not. Beth does not.
But she also leaves.
She leaves, which I do think. Where's your friendship now,
That's
bitch?
what I'm saying. 7 at the most. At the
At the
most.
most, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
These are bad people,
Yeah.
and they all needed to get got, and they did not. But then, so then we have the big showdown at the end with the boogeyman.
This could have been a good for her movie.
Go on.
Okay. What
Is
the,
this part of your three walls
oh no,
to
but
three walls?
it led to this. But I'm just saying, like, this could have been like do we agree on what the definition of a good for her movie is?
Yeah,
Yeah, like woman has been,
yeah, like,
maligned
and then she gets,
and she gets revenge in
yes.
some way, shape, or form, right? It's like it doesn't happen, and like it feels like very like this feels very hollow and tasteless.
I don't know about tasteless, but it feels hollow for sure. Like,
Tasteless, what I mean, like not tasteless is offensive, but like I'm eating a plain popsicle. Like,
oh,
yeah,
bland.
yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
yes. So the big showdown at the end, I think, could have been cooler
yeah,
if they had like you said yourself, like they shot it with a shotgun
yeah,
and it doesn't do anything.
yeah,
But then and at that point that we're expecting to believe that this girl is going to show up again with a hockey stick and beat the shit to death.
right,
Like if you had maybe told us that the shotgun actually did hurt this thing
yeah,
and then it's tangible,
yeah.
I think maybe you can buy into the idea that she's going to go in there and fuck some shit up.
But it still doesn't make sense when this is clearly a supernatural like being with the ability to like teleport between
Yeah,
dimensions and homes.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a better movie regarding light and like spooky dark monsters.
Even though this was like one of the parts I didn't like about Smile, like this is kind of very similar to that final like the final fight scene in Smile, right? It involves going into a dark place and you kill it with fire, right? That was more interesting than this. Yeah,
Yes. So there's a movie called Lights Out
yeah,
where there's a monster that like can only survive
in the dark.
in the dark.
Yeah,
Like as soon as you introduce light,
yeah,
it pops out.
yeah,
Like if it's chasing you, it's right here, it's running at you, you turn the light on. As soon as it hits that light source, it poof,
yeah.
it disappears. That I feel like then they have the idea of, well, you can't hurt it because it can hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you try to shoot it with a gun,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you shoot, that was a loud like whistle
Yeah, I
sound
heard
like
that. It
that.
was cool.
As soon as you shoot, the muzzle flash causes it to blink out, and
Mm.
then by the time the muzzle flash is out, well, the bullet's already passed.
Yeah.
So like guns are ineffective in that sense.
Yeah.
Here they could have done something like that. Like as soon as you shoot it, and the light from the explosion comes out,
Right.
like
It hurts it.
it hurts it.
Right.
But they don't play with that at all.
And also the fact that like, okay, so then there's a symbolism of like trauma, darkness, like light drives out the darkness. But it doesn't like there's no like light that this family shares amongst themselves that actually drives out like anything.
Yeah. Also, the movie does not give you concise rules as to like what constitutes light
Yeah.
because there's some scenes where it's very bright. In the opening scene,
I mean
there's a nightlight that's like spinning.
that's her whole thing. Little girl, keep Princess Leia. Like she has a lot of little nightlights.
Leia has her lights. She
Yeah.
has her
She has the lamp
the
that's
little
right
moon
behind
light.
her when she's like walking down the hall that she doesn't turn on. No one tries turning on the lights
That's the
in
thing.
this movie.
And I pointed this out to
Yeah.
you where she meets with the crazy mom,
Hmm.
and she says it needs darkness.
Yeah.
It does not, light is not good for it. And
Yeah.
what does she do? She goes home and sleeps with all the lights off.
Yeah.
Bitch, she just told you
Yeah.
how to keep this thing at bay.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that this thing it has the ability to turn off the lights magically.
Yeah.
Fine, at least you tried.
Yeah.
But like, these people are walking around. If you're scared of the light, if you're the little Leia girl,
Right.
and you're scared of the light, and there's something creepy making noises in the hallway,
Yeah.
fucking turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Don't throw your little ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awful, awful, awful
Awful
movie.
execution. Awful execution.
And like I said, I blame this not on the director, not on the cinematography. I blame this on
The screenplay.
screenplay and scripting and story.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So, uh, before we move on, what? So what the fuck is up with the end?
I hate this.
So they burn this thing.
Right.
It like turns to ash. It disappears.
Yeah.
Also, like they show that the thing's influence is like spreading, almost like vines.
Hmm.
And then all those things start to like burn away. Then the house burns down.
Which they never do anything to explain the vines, but aside.
No,
Aside.
like I
Yeah.
think I explained it to you that it's a very Stranger Things like effect of showing like darkness and like corruption,
I get that it's an effect of dark, but the
but it doesn't mean anything
yeah.
in this story,
Yeah.
right? Like it doesn't do any. If you could say like, oh, that's how it travels,
Right.
I feel like then that could explain why it's there and the significance of it. Um,
Or like the vines grow as you grow sadder.
Something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Explain it away, but they don't do anything anyway. So it disappears, and then at the end they have this nice like family therapy session.
Yeah.
They go away, and then you hear the doctor
Colin.
call
Right.
in, go, "Hey Sadie, come here."
Yeah.
And Sadie's like, "What's up?" And there's no one there. The closet door is open.
Yeah.
You're led to believe that the boogeyman is still
It's still
there,
Colin.
like calling and like going to come back. My thing is, if you were the boogeyman and this little girl just beat the shit out of you
Hmm.
with a hockey stick and some
Yes.
flamethrower made out of
Christmas lights.
hairspray and
Yeah.
Christmas lights, buddy, just cut your losses and move on to the next sad family.
Yeah.
Like, do you need them to transfer you to another sad family? And is that why Lester coming here
Yeah.
then infected them? Like, what are your rules?
Yeah.
And also, like, at that point, just end it there.
And it there, it's doing the thing that actually I didn't like in Smile, where they're like, actually, the trauma, you can deal with the trauma. But the trauma's always there. And I'm like, all right, whatever, fair. There's something to be said about the symbolism of her choosing to like close the closet by herself. And
Yeah.
it's like, ah, she's managing her shit. But once again, we never actually see this girl like this girl has no internal arc. Like she just goes through this movie. She's boring, right?
Hmm.
Eventually, like she knows through the power of loving her mom, like the fire can the fire can kill the monster. But like,
Yeah.
but
I think the supposed arc that she's supposed to kind of follow is like initially she doesn't want to move on. She wants to keep all her mom's stuff. And
yeah.
now through facing the boogeyman, she like inadvertently burns everything down, and so therefore
But then that's weird that like
but she
part
doesn't
of her arc
acknowledge it.
is getting rid of her mom's stuff when it's literally like it's implied that it's like her fucking mom's spirit, which like you see like the little dress like waving at the
I
end
don't
that
like
saves the
that.
day.
I don't like
Yeah.
that the mommy ghost moves the thing.
Yeah.
That I don't like at all. I feel like I'm not saying like the movie doesn't do anything to show any sort of like supernatural because obviously, like I said at the beginning,
But the rules are
but the
inconsistent.
rules are inconsistent.
Yes.
So that annoyed me.
Yeah. And
Um,
this movie falsely empowered internet psychics.
yeah, she spent a couple scenes watching like
Yeah.
people on YouTube,
Some white woman.
some white woman. Yeah,
Yeah.
wild. Um, I think this movie, if it would have a better ending if they leave the session and then maybe the door just opens a little
Hmm.
bit and you're like, oh, is that because the door just wasn't closed right? Or is this thing here? But I think having this thing talk to Sadie
Yeah.
kind of like opens that door too much.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're really banking on making a lot of money on this and
Yeah.
hopefully getting a
Please no.
sequel,
The
but you're not.
monster, as someone who's never seen Cloverfield and who just heard that the Cloverfield monster looks stupid and generic, I feel like this monster just fucking looks like the Cloverfield monster.
A little bit. I don't think the Cloverfield monster looks generic. I think it's it's a cool design, and I would be excited to see more of it. I think it's very effective in Cloverfield because you don't see it
Hmm.
like a lot. You see like the leg, you
Yeah.
might see the face. You don't really ever see it.
But there's a scene where like the when Polka Dot Man shows Boring Dad the picture, and Boring Dad like shows his face like this is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like,
Yeah, it looks
this
goofy.
looks like a literal fucking Yu-Gi-Oh card with
I think
1350 attack
I
points.
think the length, like the long limbs and the way like it's like kind of spiderish, that's the comparison I could see to Cloverfield.
Yeah,
But I think like
spindly
yes, I think Cloverfield has a way better monster design. To be fair, props for this movie for keeping this thing in the
under.
dark
Yeah,
for a majority of the time.
yeah, for sure.
Towards the end, you do kind of get to see it, and it looks not great.
Yeah,
I do think it's scarier when you don't know what it looks like, and
for
it's
sure.
just a black mass with just like the two little eyes.
Yeah,
I do think that's better. Um, but then I guess that also kind of then falls into the well, what constitutes light for this thing?
yeah,
Because sometimes, like when it's standing above the TV,
yeah.
it's there,
Perfectly
and the
fine.
light. I mean, that light's not nothing.
Yeah,
Like if you're a kid who's scared of the dark and you turn on your TV,
yeah.
like that's enough light to keep you content.
It would be interesting if they did something with like light that comes from technology versus like because there's a scene where they talked about like cavemen made fire for whatever. I'm like,
Mm,
ah, it would be cool if they somehow weaved in the natural light versus the unnatural light. I don't know what the fuck they do with it, but it
yeah,
would at least add a layer.
I do think that I guess then makes sense why at the end of the movie it's the fire
But it
that
doesn't.
is effective.
Right. But the movie
Fair,
never
but yeah,
does anything.
mm-mm,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so let's
We have an experimental segment
experimental indeed.
that I like to call three balls to three walls. here is the here's where this segment came out of. I'm watching this movie and I had like there's points where this movie does get into like some ridiculousness that I kind of respect. And I'm like, I just wish you sort of like leaned into this energy. Like when it had the Christmas lights, I was like, oh, this is kind of fucking dope that she's wearing the Christmas lights as armor. Like, if only this movie was crazier, right?
Mm.
This movie does not use its one F word well at all,
It does not.
in my
She
opinion
just goes fuck you
in
and
my
that's it,
opinion.
right?
But there's a way where the F word could be used much better in this movie. So three balls to three walls. Here's the rule. Um, you take a movie that has some elements of crazy, but honestly just needs like more elements of crazy, right?
Okay.
We've already established that it's a bad movie, so now we're gonna turn it into like a
So bad it's good.
yes, or at least like so crazy bad that it's good.
Okay.
So three balls to three walls. You want to make this movie balls to the wall. What are the three things that you could do? And they could be as like ridiculous, like utterly ridiculous as you conceive.
Okay.
Now there's a couple formats where we could play this game. Like I said, I haven't done proper teacher etiquette and I haven't modeled this for Javier. I just sort of vaguely explained it. We could do where I give my three and then you give your three, or we could go one and one, one and one, one and one. Um, or I could just give my three and you do whatever the fuck like.
So for today, let's go ahead and start with you. See if I can come up with three while you're kind of coming up with yours, so that maybe that helps me understand what you mean.
I've got my three. So
Okay,
do you want me to do all three or do you just want
so
me to?
start with one,
All
and then
right.
we'll see.
Okay. So first and foremost, just more F words. Like these kids, like I said, are kind of boring, right? Black phone girl swears a lot, like it makes her likable, right?
Come on.
I think these kids, especially little Princess Leia, just need to be saying fuck constantly. They need to be rude. They need to be angry. Like she's got these rude ass high school friends. She needs to be like rude back into them. It honestly makes the dynamic between the dad, like, and her, like, more interesting because dad can be like, oh man, like you're clearly like have a lot of like unhealthy anger in you, and like I'm a therapist who can't deal with it, right? Like this would be much more fun if like 50 more fucks were just said in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of a basic one. My other ones are like kind of more crazy and out there, but like kind of the spirit of this game. Would you like me to continue with mine?
Yes.
Okay. Thing number two. I actually came up with four. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. Thing number two is a big thing. All right. I love the Christmas lights.
Okay.
Right. I love the Christmas lights. Um, Thing number two, we're gonna build off some elements. We're gonna build off the Christmas lights. We're gonna build off the point that like she remembers mom singing a song to her, even though it's like some boring Tura Lura Lura La song, right? Unmemorable. This movie's gonna be set in Christmas. We're keeping the fact that mom's a stoner, but we're amping that up. So instead of singing Tura 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 Lie, mom will be singing her daughters the greatest hits from Afro Man's A Colt 45 Christmas,
No.
which includes titles like Deck My Balls, Police Blow My Wad, The 12 Jays of Christmas, Joby Bells, Let Her Blow, and Oh Chronic Tree, and Violent Night. Right. Um, so we have video of mom singing these like stoner Christmas songs to her kids. Mom's just gonna be like a trashy ass hippie.
So, all right. So, I want to interrupt, but I gotta
Yeah,
interrupt for a second.
yeah.
I think what Tano wants is he wants the a scary movie version of this.
Yes, but wait. Yes, but wait. Um. Okay. So mom sings through these like stoner Christmas songs, and then that way, when like they use the lighter to kill the monster, and it's implied that it was the mom, you just hear like the 12 Jays of Christmas just like radiating. Because like Hunka Hunka Burn in Love at the end was kind of funny, but like I just feel like it needs to be more on the nose, right? So that's my thing number two. It's a Christmas movie, and mom is just this like trashy hippie dreadlocks stoner, right? Should I continue?
Yeah.
Okay. Thing number three. This needs to be a good for her movie, right?
Yes.
I think this monster should drive this whole family to uniting over their vindictiveness. And instead of killing it, they should incapacitate it. They get to the point of like, okay, we can get rid of our trauma, or we can continually just like take our anger against our trauma. And we've got the Christmas lights. They bring this monster into just this room that's just like fucking covered in Christmas lights and like glow sticks and whatever like stupid childhood things, and they just like torture it forever by just like slapping
Jesus.
it with like glow sticks from the dollar store.
God damn.
And every night, they're glow sticks. They've got their little like arcade balls that have like that blink like blue, white, and red, like
Oh
the
god.
bouncy balls. Yeah, they're just like fucking throwing it in this monster's face, and you just say like,
That was you're making us feel bad for the
yeah,
monster.
yeah, and that's how it ends. And you know what? You can torture the evil friends in that room as well.
Interesting.
Those are my three balls to three walls.
I'm not as creative.
Yeah,
I'm not as creative.
yeah.
I think if I would make changes, I would make changes to make this actually good.
Okay.
My first change that I would make to make this not three walls to three walls, but three walls that are sturdy walls. For starters, I would make the creature not solid.
Yeah.
I would make it be like a misty thing
Yeah.
with like absolutely no shape
Yeah.
that could take like a silhouette of something. I
Mhm.
think that would be more
That would
interesting.
actually make sense given its other superpowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it could like because there's the very opening scene, not a very opening scene, but the first scene where like
It kills the girl.
no,
Oh.
when it's like first haunting the girl,
Hmm.
um, where she like sees it come out of the closet.
Hmm.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Mm.
Um, so this thing like runs out of the closet and it runs under the bed,
Hmm.
and you see like little feet, and I
Mm.
just thought it was so fucking silly,
Hmm.
and that's. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
If you want to make this more of a silly thing, I honestly think this could work as a like a horror comedy
Mm.
where you do have like things like, hey, let's fight this thing at the end of the movie with like, when you go to like a sporting event
Yeah.
and they want to get the kids involved, they sell the little wands with the
Yeah.
spinny heart at the
Huh.
top.
Huh.
Like beat the shit out of this thing with that.
Knows? Okay, because here's the thing, and I'm interrupting, but like when your concept is Boogeyman, which is once again the most boring, like wasn't there just a Boogeyman movie within the past 5 years?
Now
I
in the
I
past 5 years, there was a Boogeyman movie in like 2005.
I know there was Candyman, which is effectively the Boogeyman, but like you need to liven it up in some way, shape, or form. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue. Three sturdy
Um,
walls.
three sturdy walls. So that's two
Yeah,
sturdy
yeah.
walls. I think the way to make this also better is to have have it be so this family is dealing with this shit.
Hmm.
Wife is dead. These kids are dealing with this. They're like super like emo.
Hmm.
They once had a life where they were nice and happy, but now they're like listening to My Chemical Romance
Yeah,
and saying "fuck you, dad."
yeah.
And then who comes to save them? Polka Dot Man and Crazy Mom, and they
Oh,
kind of play the role of like the ones to tell them like what's going on.
yeah,
This thing killed our kids.
yeah.
We are going to help you. And these people go, oh, let's do what they tell us. And
Yes,
this is a more competent movie.
yes.
Not again, not three walls to three, not three balls
But
to
now
three
you invented a
walls,
different game.
but
Three sturdy walls.
three sturdy walls,
And
I
in fact,
think.
in the future, this segment could be three sturdy walls versus three balls and three balls.
Oh, oh,
Mm.
that
See?
we can play the evolution of the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Um, but so let's go ahead and wrap let's go ahead and wrap this set up. So in the game Alan Wake, are you
Mm.
familiar with it?
I know the title.
So Alan Wake, there's this like town. It's overrun by like a weird infection where like it takes over like people,
Mm.
and the people who are attacking you are like covered in like this dark mist.
Mm.
And in order to get them to actually get hurt, you have to flash them with a flashlight,
Yeah.
and then you can shoot them.
Yeah.
Well, one of the bad guy or one of the main characters actually like wraps himself up, kind of like how you
With the lights.
with the lights.
Kind of like
So
Walking Dead. With the blood and the guts.
yes, I
Yeah.
sent you a picture,
Hey.
and then you'll see it. This man's name is Barry, and he covers himself up
Nice.
with
Excellent.
Christmas lights, a headlamp,
Excellent.
and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, more of
you
this.
need more of this.
More of this.
I think if you want to make this more of an action, like if this could take the turn that like some movies that start as horror and then switch to action,
Mm.
you could have them like do this where like now they're strapped, they got guns, and they have like the lights to
Yeah.
weaken this thing, and now you go pew pew, but then you have to have multiple of the boogeymans.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Who knows?
I think there is a market for like dark, like scared of the dark movies where there's something in the dark.
For sure.
I just don't think this movie does it
No.
very well.
No.
So, on that dour note, hopefully you guys enjoyed our new segment,
Three balls to three
three
walls
balls to three walls.
versus, or three sturdy walls versus three balls to three walls.
All right, everybody. We will be back sometime next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're looking at Jury Duty.
Yes.
We got Transformers.
Yes.
Then The
Wars.
Flash.
The Flash.
This is another movie coming out the same day as The Flash.
Which I actually, I don't remember what it was, but I think I actually wanted to see it more.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's a stacked,
It's a stacked
very
summer.
stacked
We
year.
got comedy this summer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
the new what's it called?
The new what's it called? The doggy movie.
The doggy movie.
Oscar winner Jennifer Lawrence's return to the silver screen.
It's been a while for her,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we have Transformers, The Flash. Oh, Elemental's the same day. No, I don't want to.
I don't want to fucking see that shit.
I don't want to see Elemental. There's another movie coming out sometime soon, though. We'll see. We'll figure it out. All right, everybody. We will be back soon. Until next time, he has been
He
Thano,
has been and continues to be Javier.
and this continues to be the Cine-Scoots podcast.
Bye.
Bye.